Hello and welcome to Fresh Faced One Shots. My name is Joey,
And I'm Jacob.
and today we are continuing Tom King's Wonder Woman with
Yes.
Wonder Woman number 3, with easily our most interesting backup story so far.
I'd also say an interesting main story.
Yes,
I think we need to preface this with some content warnings, though.
such as
There's probably going to be a discussion of suicide, because that is a plot point here.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and I think I have thoughts. I have interesting thoughts.
I think it's done well.
Oh, it's
In a,
I
I mean, it's also slight spoilers. A suicide that revolves around being possessed by a supervillain.
Yeah,
So
that makes it even. It's just really dark, okay?
it's incredibly dark. So, but let's get into Wonder Woman number 3. Here we go. I do love the opening to this with the guy in at the front desk with all the different Wonder Woman artist and writer names. I think that's just awesome.
Yeah.
With the crossword.
You know who I'm surprised isn't mentioned there?
Who?
Simone.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to believe Tom King has a full version of that crossword puzzle with all of the different Wonder Woman writers and artists included. So.
I mean, I may or may not have tried to spend like 2 minutes just looking at that panel, thinking, okay, what could this be? What could that be? I didn't get very far, but I you know what, Tom King, if or Daniel Sampere, it might be. I could imagine both of them designing this.
Yeah. But yeah, and also just, I don't know, the way that Wonder Woman interacts with this guy at the front desk too, just incredibly fun. It's so polite, and she's about to throw down. It's great.
I think one thing this issue does really, really well is it helps recontextualize the first 2 issues in some interesting ways.
True.
We haven't. What's been interesting about this Wonder Woman run is our point of view hasn't really been entirely in Diana's head. Like,
yeah. This is really like the first issue where we actually focus on Diana, sort of like as our point of view character.
Yeah, and even then,
really
there's this very, by the end there's this twist that it recontextualizes the lens completely, which makes me wonder. Also has some very interesting things on where this arc is going to be going.
True.
We have this character, this rich, bald, white American billionaire who is an extreme history buff. Like,
now, is this? I'm assuming. Is it implied this is meant to be the same guy that Trinity is talking to?
Yes.
In our framing device, yeah.
Oh yeah, because I mean he's drawn the same way, speaks the same way. He's the one that, turns out, spoilers, is narrating all of this.
Yeah.
And he's talking to this soldier,
Mr. Delgado, which I just love that to begin with. But also, I can't wait to like actually pick apart this character once we get to know him better. And
do we have a name?
I don't know. If we do, I feel like it might have been something in like maybe Wonder Woman 800 that I might have to go back and look at.
I was kind of doubt to, but I didn't have time. Yeah, but he's like the King of America. So, and the idea is that this guy's fam comes from a long line of kings of America. He mentions being a prince in his youth. But like, he has the gun that was used to shoot Abraham Lincoln, and he's impressing this young soldier with this historical knowledge, and then we can put a pin in that. For Diana.
Diana has actually the fun part of this issue. I love the elevator sequence where the guy like goes to like pull a gun on her and she just kicks him and keeps on going. You got the elevator music playing the whole time. she's like yawning as in the commotion of everyone shooting at her. They're not able to hit her. She only has to deflect like one bullet. It's a really fun sequence. I really, really love that. As she throws her tiara and gets it back through that whole bit. It's very fun. I don't know. I love Diana's side of this story. It's great. Yeah. But yeah, back on the soldier and the rich man. We learned that this soldier was one of the guys that was there at the fight last issue with Wonder Woman versus the different soldiers with Steve Trevor and all that. That he was one of the guys there, and the older guy starts to impress this idea onto Delgado that the fight must have been traumatic. Seeing a girl like Wonder Woman humiliate you and your brothers and all your other soldiers out there,
and it's very pointed language, very much playing on masculinity, very much being like
it's the kind of language we see certain toxic masculine like influencers these days talk. I feel like it reminds me of that a lot.
And I'm certain that's intentional.
Totally.
But it's also blending that with this almost idealized form of American history. Like, I think there's a reason one of the artifacts that's brought up is the gun that was used to shoot Abraham Lincoln, a police baton, heavily implied to have beaten down civil rights protesters. So like we're pointing this language, and there's this lasso, who Wonder Woman readers may recognize as the one that Trinity had back in Wonder Woman 800 when she went to go see. Will have
eventually. It's time. How about it? It's the same black lasso. Assuming the same black lasso. It'd be weird if it wasn't, I guess. And yeah, he offers for Delgado to hold it, and we'll put a pin in that again.
Another pin in that. We then. Yes, I love how Semper does this, like, zoom out on the door of Sergeant Steele's office.
Yeah. As Wonder Woman has broken in and defeated all the soldiers in here, and she is now face to face with Sarge Steele, who's pointing a gun at her, and she's like, "Hey, let's be polite to each other." And that's all we get on that actually for now. Back to Soldier Delgado. Once again, those really uncomfortable ideas that this guy is trying to impress on him, that like how he should feel about the fight with Wonder Woman.
How being beaten by Wonder Woman makes him feel like he doesn't want to be a man anymore, which there's some interesting readings that King is going for, and I hope as this develops he does it well, because I don't want to say it's ambitious territory, especially since a lot of this book, the last two issues and this one, are also interestingly through a male lens in terms of the way a lot of the sequences are actually presented.
And though, like, Sarge Steele and Steve Trevor, there are more people, like, in that gray area when it comes to confronting Wonder Woman. This is the first time that this guy has actually, like, been an outright villain that we're taking that perspective on. So yeah, I'm assuming this guy's a villain. He seems villainous to me, based on where this goes. And oh god, the line that this scene ends on, it isn't ideal, but the only thing you can do in this situation is to tell everyone that what has happened, and then find a quick way to end your agony.
I read that and my heart sank.
Yeah.
And then it kept sinking because Tom King went really uncomfortable. But I did love most of this confrontation between Diana and Sergeant Steele.
Basically, Steele keeps like waving a gun around, saying like, "Hey, there are these fucking soldiers up here that can beat the entire Justice League. Come on, you have fucking nothing. I have an army, whatever." He keeps repeating that. I have an army. I have an army. I have an army. Wonder Woman's like, "Sure, you have an army, but I have an invisible jet that has been here, the entire time and is aimed directly at you. It's so great. It's such a great bit.
But what's also interesting is the discussions between them gives us a lot of information. It almost sets this king character, this King of America character, as a separate third party.
Yeah, because
Steel intrinsically linked to Steel and Axe as an organization, as well as connecting Colonel Trevor to Steel in some interesting ways. There's a lot of interplay going around that I hope King really gets to explore some of this. But yes, it's interesting.
Yeah. Meanwhile, oh god. So, this soldier guy, Delgado, leaves. He ends his meeting with this King of America character. Goes home. I mean, I hate describing scenes like this.
So I'd like to read out the note that he writes. He writes a suicide note. In her actions that day, Wonder Woman denied my rights as a man to exist in this world. And
Jesus.
Daniel Semper in 4 panels.
Fucking breaks me.
Shows the suicide, and it is.
It doesn't hold back either. The only thing that I think could have made it more graphic is if there was an individual panel showing the bullet going through his head. But it's pretty graphic. It's
and it's intricate with the idea that Axe knows about this because Diana is given a medical report. That's at least partially implying that this is happening at a different time. But we also we find out that Diana's really been on the trail of this Amazon sister,
Emily. Yeah,
Emily.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and Steel has found out that Emily, as he puts it, has got a little Amazon baby in her belly. To which we cut to a shocked Trinity looking at the old man tell this story. And that is where we end the main story of the issue.
Can I just say, we then get immediate tonal whiplash going into the backup?
Okay, but much needed tonal whiplash.
Yeah!
That was fucking heavy. But, okay.
Okay, so yeah, that's heavy. I have thoughts. I'm curious to see how much of these first 2 issues might then first 3 issues honestly might end up replaying at some point. Because again, we have this man being our narrator and he's clearly unreliable. He's also clearly representing, the toxic masculinity. The whole suicide plot line is very reminiscent of the right-wing talking point about the male suicide epidemic, which is technically a problem, but isn't ever a problem the way that the conservative right likes to frame it. As well as just all these hot-button issues that I hope King does well.
I mean, he's been crushing it so far.
He's crushing it so far, but
I understand your worries that it is such a bold direction.
It's bold
that one can worry that he will not stick the landing.
Yes.
But I don't know. I have not had a reason to doubt it so far. So, yeah. Anyway, Lizzie wants her pizza.
So we are a few years from now.
John Kent and Damian Wayne are babysitting little Trinity. And, oh my god, it is the best. I need it more. I don't want this to become the main story of Wonder Woman because I'm sick of feeling depressed about the world. But thank you, Tom King, because it's great. But also thank you for giving me this much-needed 8-page relief from that.
I have a feeling that that's what this backup is going to be. It's going to be some much-needed fluff.
Yeah.
It's some fun fluff. I will say,
it's so fun.
I don't have much experience with John Kent as a character. I have a little experience with Damian Wayne from reading Night Terrors
I will love if these backups are like, you know, your main exposure to them.
But that means we wouldn't do the Morrison run on Batman, Joey.
I know.
Want to do that run.
Yeah, we'll do it. Don't worry. It'll come around. But yeah. So I love this backup so much, though. John and Damian are like arguing about babysitting Lizzie, and John like distracts Damian so he can like zoom out of there in no time. So Damian's stuck with her. He puts her in a little Robin costume and calls her Wonder Robin, and it's fucking adorable, and I love it. And then they go out and they fight Killer Croc, and she kicks him and beats him, and it's so good. I love it. It's so much fun.
Very cute.
Yes, and then it ends with like Lizzie like sleeping on Damian's lap, and John comes back, and Damian's like, "What is it? Does the S on your chest stands for what? Like subterfuge?" And he's like, "Yes, for hope." And Damian's like, "How about it stands for shut the fuck up?"
Damian and John's interactions are kind of like an old married couple.
It's so good, well, and that is what they've always been. We got to do Super Sons someday too. I realize.
We need to do that. We need to do that rebirth run of Superman.
Yeah. There's so much. There's so much. We got to do it all. Anyway, all right. That was Wonder Woman #3. Oh man,
yeah,
it's a lot.
Having a lot
of
fun
ways
with
than
this.
one.
I'm having a lot of fun with this. I just really, really hope we stick the landing.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm also glad it seems... I'm so glad. So the digital issue has the ad and like the checklist for the
Beast World
event. Yeah. I'm so glad that none of these books are getting postponed for 2 months.
Yes, it's a great relief after Night Terrors.
Because this, and then of course the other like traditional ongoing monthly, because Brave and the Bold's kind of an anthology. That's a little bit of a different case. Are both picking up steam, and I'm like, do not interrupt this pace, please. We have very interesting stuff. I'm very happy. I jump on this run. I like the one thing I think that I need is I need a little more of King being in Diana's head, but I think that's coming.
Yeah, he's slowly peeling back the layers more with her character, and like I feel like an issue that is entirely from her perspective is coming up soon.
It's gotta be, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, the 3 was a step in the right direction in that regard.
Yeah.
But I really wouldn't trade the way that like 1 or 2 were done from like that outsider perspective either, because I think he crushes that as well.
No, I think 3 is starting to get a little, I don't want to say too long, but it's starting to get sort of near the danger of, okay, we need to we're clearly going somewhere, so let's actually
I'm also excited that we're just involving Trinity in the story more, which is nice.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll be cool. So, all right, that about does it. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to check out other Fresh Face one-shots that we have going on. Check out our other Wonder Woman ones. Batman Brave and the Bold. Superman #8 just came out this week as well, so that'll be coming out soon. This will be coming out first. So yeah, Superman #8 will be coming out soon for us, a review of it. And check those things out. I'll also leave our link trees in the description below for socials and all that to check us out. And I think that about does it. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, this has been Joey Morgan
and Jacob Licklider.
Goodbye.
Bye.